Good morning and welcome to yet another episode of Sunday Morning Conversations with me, Ma Janaki. So, hi, so many of you are joining in. Renu Kothari is here. Hi, my chapter 1. Hello to everyone. Shivrama Krishnan. Oh, hi. Chandrikanta, good morning. Vishnu Vardhan, good morning. So good to see all of you joining in, no? As soon as I say I'm going live. Hi Suresh, good morning. So today we have a very interesting guest. And I'm super happy to connect with her after so many years. So I hope you've all celebrated whichever part of India you are in, either Shankranti, Lori, Bihu, Pongal of course. And I don't know how many of you are going to go back to work tomorrow because it's been a pretty long weekend. A lot of people have, had, I think some of you have taken some days off in between in Tamil Nadu, in Chennai. It's pretty much a very long weekend, and we've had lots of fun, and as you can see the sunlight, now it's going to get hotter and hotter in Chennai. A lot of you are saying, hey, my guest has joined from HarperCollins. Okay, she is Bharati Jagannathan, my college mate, where we both did graduation together and post-graduation together. Super excited to have her. She's a published author with HarperCollins. So give me a minute while I add her to my call. Okay, I'm sending her. Waiting for Bharati Jagannathan, my dear friend, who is joining in from Faridabad. It's pretty cold there. Hi!
Hello. I just heard you say it's going to get hotter and hotter, and all I can think of is it is so cold here.
All right. Good morning, Bharati.
So cold.
So, all of you who have joined in, meet my friend Bharati.
Hello.
Bharati Jagannathan is, okay, first of all, she's a very dear friend. Second of all, she's
Same
in
here.
history.
Janaki is a lovely friend.
History in Lady Shri Ram College while I did political science. And then both of us went on to do our post-graduation in mass communication in Jamia Millia University. And then, you know what? I'm not going to tell everything, okay? So right now, I have to tell you a little secret. So when Bharti and I were in college, in doing our post-graduation, suddenly Bharti would disappear. And she would be looking at it and she'll come very excited. She was a bird watcher. So Bharti, welcome to the conversation. And let me start with asking you, what interested you in going and watching all those birds?
There was, while we were in college, there was this wildlife club or some such thing. And in February or January of the year we were in final year, they took a trip to Bharatpur, and somehow I didn't get to know. In those days, we didn't have WhatsApp and whatever, so they must have put up the poster somewhere and I must have missed it. I felt so, that I'd missed out on something, that I decided that I'll do my bird watching, right where I was. So every Sunday I'd take off to some, and I was doing history anyway. So every Sunday in my final year, I would just go off once to Qutub Minar, once to Safdarjung's tomb, once to Humayun's tomb. And I would, of course, soak in the history, and mostly I do it all by myself. And I'd also watch the birds there and come back and, note down whatever I had watched. And that's how it began.
My God, this, when you watch those birds, can you explain to me? Because sometimes I wonder, what is it that they are looking out for? Are you looking out for something specific?
Am I looking out for something specific, or are they thinking about something specific? Oh, no. Yes. I mean, I just enjoy watching them. I just enjoy watching all the birds, even things which are really common like crows. Even those I enjoy watching. In fact, crows I've noticed recently are not very common. In fact, just yesterday, day before yesterday, we had this festival when we do that Matu Pongal. We keep
Yes,
that
yes.
for the crows and the sparrows.
Crows,
And
yes.
I was telling my mother that I don't remember having seen crows for a very long time. And the words when we and it goes back to our days in Jamia. I lived in the hostel in Jamia, if you remember,
Yes,
which was very
yes.
near the river. And I was on the top floor, and across from my room, we could see a landing on the roof of the hostel, where there would be a whole bunch of white-backed vultures which would come and sit there. And so I would open my room door in the morning, and I'd see those, 30 of those vultures, and it's cheap. सुबह सुबह देखने के लिए, what a thing to see early in the morning, vultures.
Correct, correct.
And a few years after that, actually, the white-backed vulture completely disappeared from northern India. We do not know whether it was some kind of a flu or it was because
Oh
of,
my God.
diclofenac, the painkiller which is used for cattle. And vultures feed on carcasses, and their kidneys are destroyed by that. So we don't know what it was, but they just disappeared. And after that, I think that even birds like crows and pigeons, which we take so much for granted, we can't take them for granted.
My God, so much, so much that you can learn from just being so observant. And I think that is what I love about you, Bharti. I mean, I see that there are many, many fans who have joined. There is Being Vamsi who says, I'm a big fan of your writing. There is
Oh,
Chavi who
lovely
says
how
that.
I see somebody's already read me. That's so lovely.
Yeah, and Chavi reads is saying that she's right now reading your latest A Spoonful of Curds, and we will come to that because I want to trace Bharti's journey as this bird watcher, then who went on to do history, MPhil, and PhD, and then much later on she went in. She was a Fulbright scholar, and then suddenly we know that Bharti is writing. So tell me, walk us through this journey of history, MPhil, PhD, and being an author.
Okay. I always wanted to be a writer. It seems strange to say, but I was writing even as a teenager. Obviously, it was teenage stuff. But for some reason, I suppose some kind of a delusion of being a writer, even as a teenager, I've got a lot of my stuff. And while most of it is, adolescent idiocy,
Mm-hmm.
every, here and there, I find a piece that even at the age of, 50 plus, I can say, hey,
Yeah.
that's a good piece of writing. So, and I'm distanced enough from it. I'm 40 years away from that. So it doesn't seem, it's not like, I'm proud of what I was doing. I can just see it as a bit of writing and I say, oh, okay, this young teenager wrote some very good stuff. So there is good writing even there. Well, 80% of it, 90% of it, I'll say is teenage stuff. But here and there is a really good piece even then. So I've been writing throughout. And in fact, the stories in Spoonful of Curds, most of them were actually written in the first decade of this century. So
Oh,
most of them were written much earlier, actually, which is why there is the cell phones are just about appearing, and there is no WhatsApp, there is no Facebook. We didn't know. I mean, some of my students, I remember, used to talk about something called Orkut, and we'd say, "What is this Orkut?" And they say, "Ma'am, it's a social networking site." And we'd say, "What is social networking? Aren't we social networking right now?" So, we had no idea. I mean, that was probably the first thing which came up sometime around 2005, 2006, and none of our generation had any notion about what it was. So none of these stories had that because they were all written in the early 2000s.
okay. Now, see, I love what you said. My very immediate takeaway from what you said is you always wanted to be a writer, so you kept at it in whatever way. And B, I'm so glad you actually appreciated what that teenager wrote, because most of the times we are our biggest enemies, right? We will beat ourselves, and we are so hard on ourselves, saying that why did I even write this piece of trash? But that's
No,
okay,
I
right?
wrote so much trash. I wrote 90% of what I wrote was teenage trash. And I was really actually not thinking of it as myself any longer. When I was basically clearing out, when you get your house whitewashed, all kinds of old stuff comes out. So when you are putting it back, you're dusting it, cleaning it, and then you say, hey, what the hell was this? And you open it, and then that's how. Otherwise, it was not for any other reason. It's just stacked up for, the thousand years they've been stacked up there, and then you read something, and of course, much of it is, the majority is teenage adolescent stuff, but there is good writing here and there.
My sister
So
who's
I'm not
joined
really
us.
thinking of it as myself. I'm thinking of it as a young girl.
Yeah, so my sister who's joined just now from Delhi, she's moving house, and she says she can very well empathize with you about this, moving or whitewashing. And that's when all the old stuff comes. Sometimes you've not even looked at it for the last
You
10 or
don't even
20
know the
years.
letters you got, that you haven't thrown away, and then you are whitewashing, and then you're cleaning, and these letters come out, and you say, "Oh my God, yes."
Okay, but when you said you always wanted to be a writer, did you also pack yourself into that one little
No,
framework that I want to write only for this audience or
no.
that audience?
No, I had no idea. I just wanted to write all the time. So I was writing a lot of poetry, and as I said before, much of adolescent poetry is pretty crappy. So I was writing, and by the time we were in FCRC, I was also writing essays, some of which are nice. I was writing travelogues wherever I went. I
Mm.
write travelogues about wherever I went. I kept a bird journal for bird and nature journal till about
Wow.
2002, 2003. So I mean, and I was trying to write it as, as richly as possible. It was not just a notation, ki ye dekh liya, wo dekh liya. I was trying to write it. I mean, I was trying to do uh, work on the craft also when I was writing.
Lovely. So in HarperCollins site, they of course talk about you. I will come to that about being a teacher, but also you have authored an academic monograph.
Yeah, here it
Okay,
is. I
so
feel a bit like a performing clown, with all my books in front of me.
I'm so glad because we all want to see it. So what does that mean, Bharti?
Well, I specialized in early Indian history, which was earlier called ancient India. Prefer to say early India. So, and I also wanted to, I mean, the things that I have wanted to do from, from my teenagers was I was always interested in trying to understand religious ideas. So, for my PhD, I decided to explore my own religious heritage. So it's not as though it's a personal. It is at some level it's a personal quest, but it is not really it's a very academic quest also. But I figured that I was best placed to investigate in a scholarly fashion something which I also knew from practice, from lived tradition around me. Not that I'm necessarily practicing in the same way, but I knew it from lived tradition, and I thought that it would be a very good thing to explore academically.
So did you bring in all those now? How did you then get into children's, writing before I come to a spoonful of curds?
How did I get into children's writing?
Okay, wait. Let me show the viewers. This is one of the many books that Bharti has. This is called The Adventurous Tomato, and it is such a cute story.
Actually, I've got
So,
the whole
yeah,
lot of my books lined up over here.
okay,
This is A Stranger Comes Calling. This is for kids between 8 and 10 years of age, and it is
okay,
based on a second century Mathura, so
okay.
second North India. This is A Meeting in the Street. This
Okay.
is One Sang here, and
Yes.
this is based on 7th century. This is again 8 to 10 years old. 7th century Tamil Nadu, Kanchipuram.
Okay.
Then here is a fair to remember. This is 16th century Vijayanagar Empire. So it is set
Hmm.
in Hampi. And this is One Day in August. This is
Yes.
1947
This.
Punjab.
Yeah. This has got, I think, a lot of reviews. I've
Yeah,
seen many
yeah.
people, love and
So
appreciate this.
then, well, Adventurous Tomato you showed. Uh,
You have the
this is
timid
for,
train.
yeah, I have the Timid Train here.
Uh, that's a very, very sweet story about Loco. So all
Yeah.
those who have young children, I think this is for grade 2, I mean level 2 of Pratham. Please,
Yeah, this is for
otherwise go
younger
to
children.
Story Weaver.
These are for
Yeah.
younger children also. Samira's Awful Lunch actually, I think, became
Yes.
a mega bestseller. I think
Yeah.
they printed 25,000 copies. I mean, five in
Wow.
English, 10 in Hindi. 5 in Urdu, 5 in Marathi. And then they went on to do two reprints, I think, of 25,000 each. So
Wow, that's wonderful, and it is such a cute story. It's about
basically, this
ancient
story was written
Chinese.
for my kids, fussy eaters, and then trying, and it was basically written with my own kids in mind. Yeah, this became a huge hit because all parents, I think, have a problem with their fussy eating children.
So it's all for those mothers who have logged in. If you have a fussy child, I mean fussy eater in your child, please, 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 please read them, Samaira.
Yeah, and it's available on Creative Commons, so you don't
Yes.
need to purchase it or any such thing. It's
Yeah,
available on
it's on
Creative Commons.
Story Weaver. So
Yeah.
please go there. So there were these. I'm sure you were doing a lot of book reading also, Bharti. In
Yeah. After the first few children's books were published, actually, Pratham has a great outreach to schools, especially for children who are marginalized, deprived. So
Yes.
I would go to a lot of government schools to read out, and occasionally I would also go to the fancy public schools. But it was much more. I went to government schools to do readings where you do not get they do not get too many authors coming in. So it was great actually interacting with the
So do
students.
you do the reading only in English, or I know you
Not
speak
at all. No,
multiple
no, no.
languages?
I act. I act. I mean, you are a fantastic actress and a singer and all of that. I'm not a singer at all. I can't sing to save my life. But I don't mind making, clown of myself. I will fall down. I will get up. I will do all of that. I'm very happy to act.
Yeah, and in multiple languages, right?
Yeah, English, Hindi, and of course, Tamil was never required in Delhi, but English, Hindi, and little bit of Punjabi. Yeah, sure.
So you speak Punjabi, right, Bharti? You grew up in
I grew up
Punjab.
in Punjab, so I read, write, speak Punjabi.
So have you written any stories based in Punjab?
Yes, One Day in August is actually in
Yeah,
Punjab.
that one. Yes, that one. And other than that, have you
And
written
yes, I
any?
have written some stories for adults. Actually, it sounds so strange to say adults because it's not adult in that sense, not the
Yes, yes.
a movie kind of thing, but just to distinguish it from children's stories. Yes, I have said some stories in Punjab. I mean,
All
those are
right.
not the ones which have been published in A
Okay.
Spoonful of Curds, but I have said
Okay.
stories in.
So now you become a published author. You have lots of children's books. So how did a spoonful of curds emerge out of all
Ah,
this?
I have got about 45 stories for adults, so to speak, on my
Okay.
laptop. I've been writing forever.
Okay.
And this January, there was a book launch in my college, last January rather,
Mm.
2020. And one of the HarperCollins editors had come there, and I just, casually mentioned that I've been writing forever, and she said, send them. And I never thought, that she's actually, meant it seriously. You don't really think that,
Okay. I think Bharti's connection. Yeah. We just lost
huh.
you for a minute there. Yeah.
Okay.
Carry on.
So, but no, I mean, and there was a book launch in my college, and the editor from HarperCollins, one of the editors from HarperCollins was there. So I just told her that, I've been writing forever too. So she just said, send them. I never thought she'll take them. She meant it seriously. HarperCollins, editor, Mac on, So I really didn't think that, but I said, why? I mean, she said, send them. So let me just send them. So I just kind of collected about 15 stories from my collection. So I thought, let me have some theme when I'm sending them. So I picked out the stories which had Tamil characters. So it
Okay.
was really, that was all. So all the other stories do not have Tamil characters actually, of my 45 stories. So I just picked them out and sent it to her. And shortly after the lockdown, I mean, I didn't believe it. She wrote back saying that we love it and we'd like to go ahead.
Wow. Can you show the book to all our viewers?
Yeah, here it is. I think वो उल्टा आता है.
हाँ उल्टा आता है कोई बात नहीं but it's called A Spoonful of Curds, published by HarperCollins and of course written by this really talented friend of mine, Bharati
That's
Jagannathan.
generous
And
of you, Janaki.
no, I must tell you, I'm going to request you now to read us your favorite chapter or maybe a few lines because so that people just get a flavor of what it
Okay.
is. So many hello messages. Okay, so here is a small thing that even Bharti doesn't know. The best kind of question to Bharati regarding her experience will get a book, a signed book from Bharati. I hope the HarperCollins, Krishna, their manager, and I were talking just before this live. So we are going to give away 3 books, which is a spoonful of curd. So ask those really interesting questions, and we'll pick up somebody who's really asked the best question. So the first question is hello, ma'am. I'm a student of Sahana, ma'am.
Okay, from
From
Kirodimal.
CFC.
Okay, great.
Oh,
Haha.
okay. Can you please share your tips for book writing? Okay, fine. All right.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
All right. So now you
So,
can start
should
reading
I
the
answer the
face.
question first or should I read first?
No. Please read first.
Okay. This is the 13th story. As you can see, I'm not superstitious because I've got 13 stories in the book. But
Okay.
HarperCollins, in all their promos, they've written a dozen stories because I don't think they want to write 13. But I'm not superstitious. I put in 13.
Okay.
And this is the last story as well as the only story written from a man's perspective. All the others are written from a woman's perspective. So
Mm-hmm.
this is a man who's speaking.
Okay. What's
If
the
it had
name
been
of the
amusing,
chapter? What's the name of the chapter?
this is called The Lord's Leela. This is the
Okay.
last one.
Okay.
It would have been amusing if it weren't so annoying. This desperation to get me married before I leave, and the anxieties that seem to be consuming my entire clan. Even Tata's grandfather in Tamil. I actually looked for some wicked spark in his eye, a secret wink that would tell me that he was only doing as bid by Pati's Nani, Daddy, grandmother. But no, he was as serious as everyone else. I don't know which worries them more, the possibility of my marrying a foreigner or of wallowing in amoral excesses without marriage. They couch their misgivings in marvelous euphemisms. But it's been a revelation. I would have thought that these concerns are focused only on daughters, but sons are evidently not exempt either, not even now in this freshly minted century. Personally, I'd be delighted to find a girlfriend. But I have signed a contract promising to rejoin my job after 3 years' leave, so my chances and choices are limited. But the family is bursting with pride too. You should hear them boasting to anyone they can find to listen to them. Not just the prestigious scholarship I've won, but even the leave, as though I were the first person to get study leave from the university. But they will go on about how remarkable this opportunity to do my doctorate in the US is and how no degree from any Indian university really compares with one abroad, and about how wonderful and incomparable everything Indian is. How is it that they never notice the irony? This glorious Indianness, which is, however, fully certified only by foreign approval. The emptiness of Western culture that draws Americans to Indian spirituality. Oh, I could go on. But the central issue is, without a doubt, women. The immoral, predatory, rapacious white woman just waiting to trap decent, dependable Indian men like myself. Unlike our own well brought up, homely girls who won't divorce you because because they don't like how you sneeze. That is, if their fancy has already not stayed onto another.
Wow. So all those who were listening in, you can imagine the kind of a laughing riot that we will have, because each story has this, layers, if I may call it, and each one is written tongue in cheek. So that's the style of writing of so all right, so the culinary pedia is saying, wow, look at your style, beautiful.
Thank you.
So she's asking for some tips, Bharati.
Tips for writing: read a lot.
Okay, wow,
That is
fantastic.
That
Okay.
is the only this thing. Read a lot, practice your craft. Grammar is important. One can't say, that I don't care about grammar because meanings change in what you say. People keep using few when they mean a few. A few means thoda sa. Few means nothing. People do, I mean, and if grammar is very important. So if you don't use grammar correctly, you're not conveying what you want to say. That's one part of it. Of course, you don't become a writer by just, a decent grammar. But grammar is important. And you learn to write only by reading, because you also know what are the kinds of themes which are explored, which have been already done, what are the new ways in which you can do that. So that is something very, very central. So reading is very important. Of late, I've also started seeing films very, very recently. Otherwise, I'm one of those, I'm really a dinosaur. I must have seen maybe a dozen films in this entire new century, and I'm not talking about going to the theater. I've probably gone to the theater twice or thrice. I'm talking about on TV, on
Wow.
YouTube, on everything put together. I must have seen a dozen films in the whole century before the lockdown began. After the lockdown, I've seen a small number of films on my laptop. So, so it
I
has
think it is a
become
lot,
more than one.
lot.
I've seen about a dozen films in the lockdown. So that is like my world record for myself.
I think it is
Dozen
a
films
lot
in
to
20
do,
years.
Bharti, about discipline, right? When it comes to writing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Amitabh Ghosh, for example, whom I admire like a god, he says that he sits down at his desk and writes 1,000 words every day. Possibly he might delete all 1,000 words eventually, but he writes every day. I don't do that. I also have a very demanding full-time job. I'm
Yeah.
a teacher. I'm a college teacher, so I don't get time every day. And also there are times when I'm like kind of bursting to write, and that is exactly when I have 100 assignments to correct and administrative work to do, and you know various kinds of official duties, and a lecture to two lectures to give the next morning, every morning. So I'm not able to write that. So I also have on my laptop, therefore, I've just kind of scribbled ideas that, okay, this is something which I can develop later. I sometimes go back to it, but very often I'm not extremely disciplined about that. So I write when I can write.
So there is this other question from Nancy Jadwani. She says, "My ma'am, my question is, what made you write more stories from women's perspective in your book, A Spoonful of Curds?"
What a nice question. Actually, I was hoping somebody would ask me this question. I am a woman. What is the other perspective I can write from? Now, I can put myself into other people's shoes, but I was being honest to myself. In fact, a very interesting conversation with a man friend a couple of days back, and a very nice person, very strong
Hmm.
feminist also, who had read about 10 of the 13 stories. And he said, one of the things I noticed is they're very good stories, but they are all, very women stories. Why didn't you try to write more universally? So I said, there is no such thing as a universal stories. When you've been reading Charles Dickens or Leo Tolstoy or Amitabh Ghosh, you've been reading men's stories written by men for assuming the world is made of men, and you think it's universal. And unfortunately, because that was what was available for all these hundreds of years, we women also thought that was universal. It's high time men started understanding we are part of the half the universe, and therefore these are equally universal, and you start looking at our perspective as well.
Wow. Beautifully, so beautifully told. So, Nancy Jadwani and the Culinary Pedia, I think these are the two people who've asked some very great questions. So, definitely a spoonful of curds is coming your way. Thank you, HarperCollins, for doing this. And Bharti, I loved one line in one of the chapters, which is the prime of Janaki Ammal. Janaki Ammal is, I think, traveling in a bus, and she says they were so busy talking that they didn't even look out of the window. This is so beautiful, Bharti. I mean, because that's what we are doing now. We are not looking out of the window, but we're looking at our mobile phones.
True. All the
So
time.
and you wrote this while there was no mobile phone. So can you tell me this whole ride? I mean, how did you get all these
Okay.
people's stories in your head?
I see the first story which features in this particular collection. I mean, it was not the first story I wrote as such, but in this collection, the oldest story is actually A Spoonful of Curds,
Okay.
and that comes from 2003, which is when I was doing my field work. I was staying with my party in Madras and Chennai, whatever. And I was staying there, and my tata had passed away just the previous year. He passed away in 2002, and I came there in 2003 to stay with my party. And Party was constantly lamenting about, she'd just become a widow, and she's a woman of her generation.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
she was constantly lamenting about that. And something very similar to actually what happens in the story happened. A neighbor actually came asking for something, maybe not a spoonful of curds, but maybe came asking for something. And party kind of bored him to death, talking. And I felt very sorry for that young man, you know. Well, maybe not so young man, maybe he was the same age as me, and he's about 35, 40 years old. So, you know, I felt quite sorry for that young man, and I ended up writing that story. And there was a question I saw which said that why,
Yes, it's
that
about
said, why did you choose this title?
uh,
So, because that story, you know, had Spoonful of Curds in that, and eventually of the 13 stories that you know were finally you know we put together. HarperCollins suggested that that was the best name, you know, of the lot, and I was only too happy because it was also, in some senses, you know, it was my first story which is featuring in this collection,
yeah,
and it's so much my party. So I was quite happy with the name.
lovely.
But yeah, you
So
asked me about the travel. Well, yes, one of the things that would happen, this is something which is coming from a real episode. I mean, obviously it's fictionalized, but it's coming from a real episode. But I did, you know, I still have a very long commute to work. So I travel about 39 kilometers each way to work and back. Not for the last 10 months, of course, but otherwise, yes. So now I travel by the metro, which is much more comfortable. Since I get on more or less at the, you know, a little shortly after the metro is terminus point, so I very often get to sit and I usually read. But earlier it was by bus, and I would first travel by, you know, about an hour by Haryana roadways, and then another hour and a half by Haryana roadways, and another 15 minutes by Delhi DTC. If I didn't get a seat, you know, then I would be, if I got a seat, I would try and sleep. If I didn't get a seat, I would be like listening to everybody around me. I'll be looking out of the window. I'll be noticing what are the kinds of, you know, every season, the new flowering, kaun sa ho raha hai abhi. So I'd be looking out of the window, and I used to keep this, you know, nature journal. As I said, okay, this has started flowering, this has, you know, stopped flowering. I'd keep a note of that. And I'd keep listening to people. And I think, you know, one gets an understanding of the kinds of concerns ordinary people like ourselves have. What are the things they talk about? I would also be appalled at some of the prejudices people would be displaying. I would not interfere. I just listen quietly, and that was,
lovely.
I think,
So I guess all that, no, I think you've been a very good listener, Bharti, because I think and finished all the conversations in your book. Okay, there is a student of yours. How to keep my rebel nature and feminism alive when practically everything is against us, and how can writing help us? This is from Pragya, and yeah, I think she's your student. And
okay.
also, there is one more question saying, do you advocate being
Being gender
gender neutral,
neutral, or is it
or
all
is
about
it all about
feminism? I
and
don't know. What is gender neutral? What does gender neutral mean to this person? I don't really know. I'm a feminist. Of course, I'm a feminist. What does being a feminist mean? It doesn't mean hating men at all. It means that we want an equal world. We
correct?
want the same rights, same opportunities for women as for men. We want, I mean, we hold up the sky together. Men and women hold up the sky together. So, equal
Wow.
rights, equal opportunities, that is very important. And we also need to be specifically sensitive to the fact that we live in a world which has been traditionally, you know, for all recorded history, it has been a patriarchal world. And women are disadvantaged in so many ways. And therefore, we need to, you know, we can't just say, okay, it's an equal playing field, because it's like saying, you know, we have all of that, you know, there are women come with, you know, baggage of disadvantages because of society, social conditioning, because of the larger patriarchy. So we do need to give heads up for women. We do need to, you know, support women so that they can achieve the, you know, the same place in the sun as everybody else, as men can. So that's all. There is no
Yeah.
hatred of men involved at all.
So she's also asking a lot about of implicity, explicitity, and being your student, I'm feminist. How to channelize my anguish towards all this in my writing? Pragya is asking
Each
you.
one has to find their own way, you know. So no appeasement or treating women as inferior. No, of course, women are not inferior, but we do need to give extra opportunities because women have been, you know, the larger society has actually marginalized women. You know, if many of us, on those of us who are privileged enough to be on Instagram, may not have experienced these kind of, this kind of deprivations. But it remains very much a fact of life across the country. Even today, if you look around our world, we do see that, women's struggles are much, much greater. So we do need to give some extra, advantages to women in order to make it level. So a level playing field does not mean that, both of you, have exactly the same opportunities and nothing more. After then, that would mean that, a woman does not get, men do not get maternity leave, so women should not get maternity leave. Does it make sense? It doesn't make sense. You have to give
Yeah.
maternity leave to a woman because only she brings up, she only gives birth to a child, only she, suckles the child. So you have to give her leave, but you don't have to give men the same leave. I mean, you give men 15 days of paternity leave or whatever, but you don't give them 6 months of leave. So we can't say a level playing field is exactly equal opportunities. You have to say there are certain things that need to be done for women. So, for example, in buses, there are people who say that, if we are equal, why do women have special seats? It's not because, a 25-year-old woman has can stand as comfortably as a 25-year-old man can stand, and a 25-year-old woman can stand with greater comfort than a 50-year-old man. Sure. Why are there separate seats for women? Because men don't get groped. Men are not, bothered. So that's why you are making some spaces for women. So there is a reason to do that. So it's not a question of, equality. It's not a level playing field, does not exist. So there we have to make it a level playing field by giving some advantages.
I think your statement of men and women hold the sky up together has been highlight, because everybody, I mean, my friend Madhu is here and she says, I mean, thank you for introducing me to a wonderful person like Bharati, and people are loving it because, I think people get the word feminism wrong, the definition of it. So I think as much as we get, an opportunity to, in fact, tell people what feminism really means, and it's not hating men. That is does not that's it's I
Absolutely
love
not.
the
Absolutely
explanation
no
of
hating. Yeah.
holding the sky together. I think it's beautiful. And something else that I really loved what you said is being honest to oneself, so I think you honest in your writing comes through, Bharti, because that beautiful light reading, which makes you smile at the end of it, and also think, sometimes of course we just read a book and then just, keep it away, but sometimes we need books like A Spoonful of Curds, which takes us back into, those days. I mean, sometimes, especially for this generation, to understand, my God, you actually lived without social media, and we didn't miss it, right? We didn't miss it one bit, and it was so beautiful. It's so wonderful to even understand, and I'm happy that you didn't take the story and put it in, today's context. You kept
They
it.
were written, I mean, they were so completely structured in their own context. Like there is a story of a relationship, of two young women in a same-sex relationship. Now, this was written in 2005 or 6. That's before the Nas judgment of the Delhi High Court. And so they choose to, have the relationship, but for the world, they are just friends who are sharing a, this place. Janaki Amarwala story, mein.
Yes, yes, it was so
Um,
beautiful. It was
Now,
so
in
amazing.
today's world, it might seem, why should they even hide this thing? But it was written in 2005 or 2000, before the Nas judgment. And that was the most practical solution in that day and, in 2006. And I wanted to be, before all of this became, progressive and all of that. I wanted to give space for that because I'll just give you one example from, my college days. There was in the hostel, there was this friend, I won't name her. And so a nice, a very pleasant person. I won't say she was a very close friend, but she was a very pleasant person. And I used to spend a fair amount of time with her. And she's a very generous person also. And she was generally, thought to be lesbian. This is obviously the end 80s. And I can't even begin to tell you how very many of our contemporaries would keep coming and tell me, Bharti, you should not be hanging out with her. She's a lesbian. You think she's a lesbian? And I would just say, like, what is the problem? If she
Correct.
is, she is. She's not going to jump on me and rape me, So
Yeah.
you don't tell me that all the men who we interact with are heterosexual. You have no problem with that because it is much more, the possibility of them jumping on me and raping me would be the same. but you don't tell me to be, you don't warn me against them. So I always found that very, very negative, that kind of idea. Even in the end 80s, I found that idea extremely negative. And for me, writing Janaki Ammal was making it as positive as possible, giving the space as much as possible. A year later, of course, things change so much, and now in today's world, people are very proud to, claim their LGBTQ identity, and it's as it should be. But I can't transfer the story to 2016. You
Yeah, yeah,
understand?
yeah, and I'm sure there are so many Janaki Ammals out there, whose
Yeah.
stories are worth telling. So I'm so glad that you chose this story, because I felt that it was a very, very powerful story, and it brought about parallel lines of so many people, including, Janaki Ammal's own daughter, and her relationship with her husband. So for all those who are wondering what we are talking about, go buy A Spoonful of Curds, which is the latest offering by Bharati Jagannathan, published by HarperCollins. And thank you so much, Bharati, for doing this with me today, because
Yes.
I
I
love
never
the
thought it
way.
would be such fun. I was so scared of this, even Instagram as a medium.
Yeah, it has been such fun, and congratulations to the Culinarypedia and Nancy Jadwani for getting 2 copies. I mean, each a copy of A Spoonful of Curds. HarperCollins, please DM HarperCollins and take reference to Ma Janaki. That's me, Ma Janaki's conversation, and they will make sure that they send the copy. And there've been HarperCollins definitely saw something special in this, hence backing you. Okay, author Aku. She has said that. And also, she wanted to know, what's your next, Bharti? We'll end with that.
Difficult to
Is
say.
no, is it a children's book, or is it for young adults? I know you
Uh,
you have a very busy
I don't
life.
know. There are, I mean, I've got another 1 lakh words of stories on my computer anyway.
Wow,
So,
fantastic,
both
fantastic.
children's
So,
stories as well as, adult stories. I've got so much. So, I don't know if I'm going to put any of that together, if I'm going to write anything new. Don't know. I
all
don't know.
right. So, as on that note, I mean, 1 lakh words in her laptop. All of you, have they're
That's
of
so
course,
nice. The
yes,
mom and the
yes, yes.
firefly. I wonder who
Okay,
it is who's. It's so
the
nice to
moon
say
and the
that.
firefly. I think. All right. I think she also asked for a lot of questions, so
Oh,
I'll
what a
end with
lovely
HarperCollins.
compliment.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. So
Oh,
thank
it's
you
one
so
second.
much,
It's a
Bharti.
he. I'm an author too. My kid's book's gonna be out soon, hence the question. Thanks for the session. Okay,
Oh,
I
okay, okay.
wonder what your question was, author Aku,
Um,
because I didn't
what
read
was
all
the
the
next
questions.
book? What was the next book? She's the one who asked
Okay.
whether your kid book is going to, come
I hope.
anytime soon.
I hope so. I don't know. It depends
Okay,
on
so
publishers. I don't know.
the moon and the firefly. All right, I'm going to ask HarperCollins if they can send you a copy
Oh, okay,
also.
Pragya Yadav. Of
Please.
course, I know Pragya. Pragya, I know you very well. Yes, of course.
Okay, so thank you so much for joining, Bharti. It was wonderful connecting with
Thank
you
you very much, Janaki.
after so many years, and that's what friendship does, right? And
Yeah. Can I
cheers
say
for.
one more? Yes, of course, I know you, Pragya. I know you perfectly well. You are from Jahan's batch, Jahan Mohammadawa's batch. I know you perfectly well. I'm just saying that to establish that I remember you, Pragya. Now, I want to say one more thing, Janaki, if I may. Do you have the time?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
All the characters are Tamil, and therefore, many people who have read the stories have been writing to me saying, especially, since I've grown up in North India, I was born in Delhi, grew up in Punjab, came back and have been here in North India all my life. So many people who are also Delhi Tamils like me have been writing and saying, I could relate to so much, I could relate to so much. But actually, I did not think of it as a book about Tamilians at all. It's, even my blurb says it's an eccentric world of Tamils. It's not a book about Tamils. If the characters, instead of being named Janaki Ammal, had just been named Rupa Sehgal, nobody
Yeah,
would have said, and she could have been Rupa Sehgal.
Yeah, true,
She
true.
could have been Rupa Saigal. There are
Yeah,
small things like, okay, she would like maybe she would have liked pulao instead of murungaka sambar, but that's the only difference. I mean, that doesn't really make you, the person does not change. So the
correct.
stories are not, I would like these stories to be seen as, stories that might belong to any urban middle class Indian.
Okay,
I'm very clearly saying middle class because I want to be also honest. I have written about the world which I do understand. So
yes,
I do not claim to, that would be very dishonest of me to claim that I can understand every kind of world. This is the kind of world that I do
correct,
understand.
correct.
So I'm very honest about what I, write about. So I wanted to resonate with anybody who, is an urban middle class person should be able to understand that. And those who do not belong to the urban middle class, I hope it reaches out to them to, provide a window into that world. So it's not, I mean, the characters are Tamil, but the stories are not about being Tamil.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Bharti. And go grab your copy of A Spoonful of Curds, published by HarperCollins and written by my so very talented, knowledgeable,
My
and
talented friend is that one, Janaki Ganesh. She is
warm,
so talented.
warm Bharati Jagannathan. So thank you so much, all of you,
Thank you,
for
Janaki.
joining in. And I'll see you next week, same time, with yet another guest. So thank you, Bharti. And
Bye
I
bye.
really
Thank
look
you,
forward to
everybody who
reading
joined in at
that
any point. Thank you so much.
1 lakh worth of, words in another storybook. All the best.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. And
Thank you for
they're very
all
lovely
those who
comments that
joined
I
in.
can see.
Yes, I
Thank
know,
you
I
very
know.
much. Thank you, all of
Yes.
you. Bye bye.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.